This is Wildcat Country.
It's only right. The ball's in his hands. A milestone victory for Arizona. Simon says championship.
All the inside scoop on U of A athletics.
It's up for the end zone. Arizona has scored the touchdown. Wildcats win.
Let's go to work, brother.
Welcome to another edition of Wildcat Country, powered by Backcourt Marketing. Eric Cohen and Shane Dale. And Shane, I'll tell you what, this is a really, really exciting week. And wait, the basketball team really they haven't played since we last did a podcast. We're talking football, Shane. It's a very exciting football week. Can you believe it? We're in January and talking about a 1-11 team, and we are excited. And before I turn it to you, I just want to say this. We have one of the reasons for excitement. Rayshon Speedy Luke going to join us here in the next segment to talk about his commitment to Arizona and his MVP performance in the All-American Bowl this past Saturday on NBC. And we're going to have an old friend of ours, TJ Benson, assistant coach of the Wildcats men's basketball team. Going to sit down with you a little bit later on in the show to talk about everything that's going on with the men's team and scheduling and such. So, Shane, before we get to buy or sell, I mean, just so much to be excited about right now, right?
Insane. And it capped off by getting the quarterback that we were hoping that Arizona would add. I tweeted a few days ago that other than another caliber power five caliber quarterback, easy for me to say, and hopefully a couple of offensive line transfers, I think this class has everything that I could have wanted on my wish list. And they got the quarterback with Jayden de Laura, who certainly would look to make you look smart, and that you predicted several times that the Arizona starting quarterback next season wasn't currently on the roster. Now it looks like he is. He's probably going to be the guy. I don't know if it's a lock. I'm sure he's not going to go in thinking it's a lock, but he probably will be the guy. Probably will be. Pac-12 offensive freshman of the year. So hopefully they had a couple of O-linemen. As of this recording, we saw that Jed Fish tweeted out in he likes to do the sign language word for transfer. So they have someone else coming in, maybe not O-lineman, because I know that they need one or two. They don't have a lot of spots to fill, but hopefully they'll do that. But it's amazing, Eric. Absolutely amazing that we didn't think it could get much better after T-Mac. And then we have the MVP of the All-American Bowl. And then a couple of days later, you have your starting quarterback for the next year, maybe the next couple of years. So it's amazing. And it's in the meantime, while we're waiting for our top 10 men's basketball team to play again, we have a lot of good football stuff to talk about. And I am excited for September, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, it is, boy, I wish it was September already. I mean, the fact that we have to wait 9 months to watch this team, but we are going to go down there. I'm sure once again, Shane, I'm already inviting you, or not inviting you. I'm kind of basically
do me a favor. Do me a favor. Don't book your hotel reservations in Pasadena yet.
All right, Shane. Well, first of all, no, I'm not going to. I never did that. And I'm not going to do that again.
Well, you were
I'm not going to do that. Period.
You were thinking about it. I remember. I remember after the year after.
Someone, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That was not my finest. All right, number one. But we are going to go to the spring game again. I mean, with this team, I really want to see what they're going to do. All right, let's get into buy or sell. We have 3 football, 2 basketball, and then a bonus question. Okay, Number one, Shane, are you buying that the biggest pickup for Arizona this offseason is not a 5-star commit in T-Mac or the 4-star MVP in Rayshon Luke? It is quarterback Jayden de Laura from Washington State.
Yeah, this was something BJ Denker said on Twitter the other day, that Jayden de Laura was Arizona's biggest pickup so far in the offseason, and by a wide margin. And I would have to agree because, number one, quarterback is obviously the most important position in football. And 2, de Laura is more likely to help Arizona as far as a single player next season. He's more likely to help Arizona go from maybe a 2 to 3 win team or 4 win team next season to maybe, if everything goes right, a 5 or 6 win team, which could further bolster Arizona's recruiting efforts going forward. I think symbolically T-Mac is still the biggest because it shows what this coaching staff is capable of. But in terms of more immediate on-field results, I'll go ahead and buy that it is likely de Laura.
Not only will I buy this one, I'm going to say this is the biggest pickup that Arizona has gotten in the transfer portal ever. And I'm going to say, and I know they got 5-star Devontae Neal, I think early in the, at least in the transfer portal as it stands now, not as a traditional transfer, but as you can transfer and play right away. I'm going to say this is the biggest one that Arizona's ever gotten. And I think it's the most significant addition, offseason addition to an Arizona team since Nick Foles, who had to sit out a year.
After Michigan State, yep.
But Foles, we didn't think of it because they had Matt Scott. You didn't know who was going to start.
Yeah.
But I think in hindsight, it ended up being Nick Foles. But I would say this is probably the biggest pickup for Arizona. I mean, this guy was all freshman Pac-12 in 2020, and he led his team to a bowl game in 2021. You almost have to feel bad for Gunnar Cruz because, Cruz transferred out of there in 2020, late 2020, saying, all right, well, I'm not going to beat out Jaden DeLora. And now, I guess bye Gunnar Cruz, right? Yeah, I mean,
well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I know that since Gunnar Cruz already transferred, I think he'd have to he sit out a year if he wanted to go play for another FBS school right away, or he could go down and play for an FCS school right away. But as far as FBS, he'd have. So I don't know those guys are going to go anywhere. But they got 5 quarterbacks now. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Two have to transfer. I mean, you can't. I mean, if you're,
I don't know,
2 or 3 of Cruz, Plummer, and McLeod have to train. I think Jordan McLeod's gone. I don't think. So? Yeah, I mean, because you're not beating out Jordan McLeod who threw 5 interceptions against Oregon is not beating out.
He looked a lot better against UCLA. I think you're selling Jordan McLeod short. I think he's a Power 5 caliber starting quarterback. I would put DeLora ahead of him on the depth chart for now, for sure. But I think more highly of Jordan McLeod than you do.
Shane, do you remember? I believe the date was October 30th. At 34-21 Washington State over ASU. That is the Arizona starting quarterback, Jaden DeLora, beat ASU with a 28-0 start to that game. DeLora 2 touchdowns, 234 yards passing, and he had a rushing touchdown as well. Arizona, I don't think has very many players on the roster outside of DeLora who have beaten ASU in their college careers.
Good point. Point.
You cannot underestimate how big a pickup this is.
And it's been 10 years and counting since Arizona's beaten ASU in Sun Devil Stadium. So that's a fair point, Eric. It's a good point.
Okay, so the second question. We saw Speedy Luke, and we're going to talk to Speedy. Really excited to talk to the MVP of the All-American game. I mean, he was just dynamic on Saturday, and social media was blowing up about this kid. Are you buying or selling the fact that he will start opening day in San Diego on, I think it's September 3rd, when they play the Aztecs?
Yeah, I'll buy it. I think the tailback position is one of the, I won't say easier, but maybe less complicated in college football to have success at right away as a true freshman. Just like I think rookie running backs can be instantly successful in the NFL. You don't see a lot of first-year players with a lot of success in their first year. The tailback position, though, can be an exception. So Arizona brings back a great deal of talent in the backfield, including our guy Stevie Rocker. And they're bringing in Jonah Coleman, who's a national top 500 recruit himself, along with Rayshon Luke. But yeah, I would think Rayshon Luke has a good chance to be at the top of that running back depth chart heading into next season. Most of these buy or sell, I feel like you're jumping the gun sometimes with a buy. So I'm usually more on the sell side, but you're in terms of buying right now, because I'm going to guess you're going to buy it as well, but we'll see. You're 2 for 2. I'm going to buy this one as well.
I'm going to sell this one, actually.
Okay. Yeah. See, now I'm trying to back you up.
You tried to back me up. No, he's not starting the first game. No.
You don't think so? Who is?
No. Stevie, Michael Wiley. You're going to have an experienced guy. Now, these guys are going to play. I mean, Speedy's going to play. I almost put it as, will Speedy get over under 5 carries against the Aztecs?
What I like about him, though, as well is, and we'll talk to him about it, is he can catch the ball, too. Yeah. So you can line him
touchdown.
You can line him up at other positions as well. So he'll definitely see some playing time. I'd be shocked if he didn't see playing time in that first game. Okay.
I agree. Yeah.
But I would go on a limb, and I don't think it's that big a limb, but I mean, I guess it sort of is. But I will buy that. I think he's going to be their starter going into week 1. Yep.
I do not think he will be the starter, but that we have a long off season to talk about that and a spring game. All right. Number 3. After seeing DeLora, Speedy Luke, T-Mac, Kean Burnett, Jacob Cowens from UTEP coming in at wide receiver, anything short of 4 wins for this Wildcats team would be considered a major disappointment. Do you buy or sell that notion?
Major disappointment? That might be a bit of an overstatement, but yeah, with Delore at quarterback and a couple other decent options now, with Jordan McLeod and Noah Fafita, I think Arizona is in good shape there. I would certainly like I said, to see Arizona add a couple of linemen in the transfer portal if they still have room, who can play hopefully right away. They're able to get that, then maybe I'd agree on the major disappointment scale. On the defensive side, they've gotten some good recruits and transfers, but they're also losing some talented guys. Their defense overall was not too bad last season.
No, it wasn't.
It really
but
wasn't.
losing Don Brown hurts, though. Shane.
Yeah, it does. And so I think they might. It's tough because I think they're going to be dramatically better offensively, which really, frankly, wouldn't take much for that to happen. But on defense, collectively, they might actually take a bit of a step back, at least next season. I don't know in the long term where they're going.
Agreed.
Next season could be difficult. Yeah. So. I think this team is capable of getting to a bowl next season if everything goes right. But expectations wise, I think 4 wins, give or take, is still fair.
The home schedule looks good. I mean, with Mississippi State, North Dakota State, USC, Oregon, ASU. I mean, if you don't have season tickets now, and I don't mean to sound like a shill for the program, but I mean, it's true. Like, that is a really good schedule. I mean, you're looking at 3 top 25 teams, plus the champion of FCS, plus your hated rival.
You're counting your money from Dave Hickey under the table there, Eric. I can see.
I have not been paid. In fact, I pay for my tickets, Shane.
I know you do. I know. I'm totally kidding. Just for the record, yes. I am 100% kidding. Eric is a diehard and goes to every home game that he can. So
yeah, I can't without the one game I missed. And by the way, we will not be talking about any home games that I miss next year that Arizona wins when I'm not there. We're not, because they're going to win more than one game next year. We can say that.
I certainly hope so.
All right. So I'm really excited about this. I think the home schedule is going to be great, and this team's going to be very improved. But still, things we need to figure out, which is the offensive line. And I know that there are rumors. We're recording this on Tuesday night of another transfer coming in, presumably an offensive lineman. We don't know who that is. Hopefully, it's Jaden Delore's former teammate at Washington State, the center. But we will talk more about that on next week's program. All right, let's talk a couple of basketballs before I give you my bonus question. Okay. Shane, there has been a notion on Twitter, and I think I got in trouble for suggesting it, so I want to see if you will buy or sell this, that UCLA, USC, and or ASU have been dodging Arizona with their COVID protocols the last few weeks. Agree or disagree?
Who'd you get in trouble with?
I said something when the ASU game from last Saturday was postponed or something. I was like, oh, that's convenient.
Did Kyle Dog get in your case? Is that the guy?
No, he didn't get on my case. No, I got a few other people like, seriously? Even U of A people. I mean, it was just a tongue-in-cheek remark. All
right. Well, here's where I stand, Eric. I think UCLA and USC, I think maybe they're less inclined to schedule Arizona right now because they can't have fans at their games for the time being. I don't know that's going to change anytime soon, but that's it's California for you, but more than this.
Right.
But I think that may have something to do with it as far as rescheduling. I think maybe they want to wait and see because, frankly, they're big games. And if the roles were reversed, like if Arizona had a chance to play UCLA in front of fans in a month or play now without fans at home, wouldn't you rather wait until we had a packed McHale Center?
So you're saying they're dodging him in a way. They're dodging
possibly. Yeah. I'm saying that's possible.
Are you buying or selling that? Are you buying?
I'm buying the possibility. Okay. I'm hedging. Right, I'm blatantly hedging. As far as the issue, I don't think there's anything to that. I think the I don't want people to get in your case on Twitter, but I don't think they're dodging Arizona. I think that they legitimately have COVID concerns. I think that they'll try to make up. I think they'll try to make up that game as soon as they can. So I will buy I don't know, halfway, a third of the way on that one. Maybe.
No, I'm buying it fully. And I'm not, and that one of those 3 schools at least, and I think it's probably UCLA. When you schedule a game against Long Beach State and not Arizona, I mean, there's no reason. Look at what Stanford did. Stanford hadn't played in weeks. They come off and they beat USC earlier this afternoon without having played for weeks. They weren't afraid. And UCLA was getting a home game against Arizona that the Wildcats wanted to play, and UCLA said no. So you know what? Yeah, I am buying that. They are dodging him. And in these, I think there was some Bruin fan who's like, I hate it. I was reading something on Twitter that got me all fired up the other day. And I'm like, I'm not one of those guys that's going to reply to idiots on Twitter, that just random idiot threads. But yeah, UCLA is dodging. I'm standing by it. No hedge here. Number 5, Shane, with all these kind of postponements and makeup games, do you buy or sell the fact that Arizona's tournament seeding will end up being affected negatively by the fact that these makeup games are all going to be clustered together and the Wildcats aren't going to have as adequate rest as generally you would want in February and March?
No, I'll go ahead and sell it, Eric. I don't think that's not too big a concern for me. Now, maybe the only thing I would say is, with an 8-person depth chart, you don't want guys to get too tired and possibly risk injury. But I don't think it's going to make that big a difference. I mean, it's going to affect their seeding one way or the other because we never know what would have happened had they just played a regular schedule all the way through. But they're not the only team that's going to be making up some games. Maybe there'll be another loss or two in there. I think the selection committee, and I don't envy their job coming up, is going to take some of those things in consideration. Think, okay, how many of these teams had to play this many games together? Just like sometimes they factor in injuries here and there, right? So I'm going to sell it. I don't think it's going to be negatively impacted, at least not by more than a seed line. Nothing terribly significant.
Okay. I think it could impact them one seed line. I think you're looking at a team that is either going to be a 2 or 3 in the tournament. I don't think they get to a 1. I mean, unless they really blow through the Pac-12. But I think you're looking at a team that, could go from a 2 to a 3 because they lose a game or two that they probably wouldn't have lost had the schedule been normal. How about that?
Maybe. That's fair. That's fair.
Okay. Bonus question. Since we're going to talk to Speedy Luke coming up next, and you're going to talk to TJ Benson. I want to go back to football before we bring on Speedy. Buy or sell, Shane? This is the most excited going into a football season, albeit we have 9 months to go, but just from what you've seen this offseason, that you have been since at least 2014, before the season.
I would say 2015 because we didn't know how good they're going to be in 2014.
Okay, all right.
So 2015, you know what? I hate to say it, Eric. Going back to me needling you about the whole Pasadena thing, I was excited going into 2018. Kevin Sumlin's first year. Yep. They had a lot of talented guys returning, and I thought Kevin Sumlin was at worst as good a coach as Rich Rodriguez. And in hindsight, I should have known better for multiple reasons. But I was more excited then because I thought that Arizona's definitely headed in the right direction. But if we're thinking Rose Bowl, we're thinking it's at least 2 years, 3 years down the road, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was within reach in Kevin Sumlin's first year, and I was way off, obviously. But going into the season, I was very excited. So I will sell by, I guess, about 4 years on your question.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. And by the way, this is let me give you guys a gambling tip. There's a new USFL that is coming out here in the next few months. There's a team called the Houston Gamblers. Well, if you can bet on them, I would not recommend it because their head coach now, Shane, is none other than
Kevin Sumlin, who's going to be counting his buyout money on the sideline.
That's right.
Loses by 20 points. Yeah.
I would, if you're going to be a gambler and bet on that, you bet against it. Bet against them. I would just say, and there's some other bad head coaches in that league, but like Todd Haley was not a great head coach when he was at one point in the NFL. He's way better than Kevin Sumlin. So if the Houston Gamblers win anything, then most of us will probably lose. Yeah, I would agree with you, though. With Khalil Tate on the cover of Sports Illustrated before 2018.
That's another reason we should have known, right?
Right. That's why I would have put the Wildcats. I mean, I was so excited, as you know. I mean, you and I were doing Wildcat Country shows at that point. I was very, very excited. So, yes, I would say 2018. But since then, I don't think I've been this excited about a football team going into a season, at least, and we're 9 months away, since 2012 when Rich Rod took over. I was really excited about that year. And seeing what happened with Matt Scott. It was a really exciting year. Like we saw, like we're going to see in 22, you had USC at home, ASU at home, and those were epic games. So will Arizona beat USC this year? If they get Caleb Williams, probably not. But I mean, the amount of talent that's coming there this year, if Williams, the dynamic quarterback who could be a Heisman Trophy contender, comes to USC with Lincoln Riley, they play at Arizona Stadium. Bo Nix from Auburn is now at Oregon. They play at Arizona Stadium. Defending 1AA champs or FCS champs, North Dakota State, Mississippi State, who was a ranked team before they choked in the bowl game. I mean, it's a great schedule. Plus, of course, ASU, which Arizona will win that game this year. I don't want to guarantee it, but I feel really good about saying that. How about that?
I'm going to leave that one alone for now.
All right, Speedy Luke going to join us. Let's find out if he is the real deal, and then followed by TJ Benson here on Wildcat Country, powered by Backcourt Marketing. Shane, on Saturday at the All-American Bowl, we saw an electrifying performance, but not only that, we saw the MVP of the game commit to the University of Arizona, which was absolutely unbelievable. Rayshon Speedy Luke from St. John Bosco High in California joining us here. He is that player that committed to the University of Arizona. But the crazy thing about that is, Speedy, you actually committed in December and signed your paperwork then. How hard was it keeping it a secret and not telling anybody outside of your family up until Saturday?
It was very hard. We wanted to bring it out to the world, of course, because of all the good commits that was coming to the school. And not only that, other commits that was going to other school thinking that their school was actually turning out to be good. But actually, we were actually having good people come as well. It was just quiet and hush-hush. So it was actually hard. But we just overcame it, and we were like, man, it's probably going to even be better and be more much exciting on television, in which it was, because I made it fun and exciting to watch.
Rayshon, Arizona has been one of the most talked about stories during this recruiting period because it's a team that went 1-11, just ended a 19-game losing streak, and they put together one of the top recruiting classes in the country, including yourself now. And I just want to get a commit's perspective. Why has Jedd Fisch and this staff been so successful in attracting top high school athletes like yourself, especially after coming off such a rough season?
I'll tell anybody, no matter where I play at, I'm all about building anyways. And me and my family, we talking about making history where it hasn't been history before. And we want to make a name for Arizona. We don't want to go to the USC's, UCLA's. They already got the names. The Oregons, they already got the players that been there and already did the fantastic stuff. We want to make a name that hasn't been. We want to make history. We want to make a name for ourselves where that can be our name, that can be established. And that's what we all about, rebuilding. And I know this 2022 class can for sure make a name for itself at Arizona.
And a lot of your soon-to-be teammates have said the same thing. Beyond your speed, Rayshon, and we saw at the All-American Bowl why they call you Speedy, what can Arizona fans expect from you when you take the field in a Wildcat uniform for the first time?
Oh, they for sure should know that as soon as I touch the ball, of course, it's touchdown. That's how I'm gonna run. That's how I'm gonna play. When in any situation, kick return, hopefully we get some 100-yard kick returns in, punt returns as well. Me being that slot, me being a weapon and a playmaker for the team, me being that running back with the long runs outside zone, inside zone, very simple. So yeah, me being dynamic, they for sure should know that that's what I'm gonna bring to the table.
Let's talk about your 2 touchdowns on Saturday before being named MVP. It was just unbelievable. Can you just break those down? Your first one, 2 long plays, and just kind of tell us what happened on both those plays.
So the first touchdown, we've been dialing that up the whole practice. It was called dragging. I was on the the left side, of course. We go up behind the tackle and guard. We kind of chill for 3 seconds, delayed it, and we kind of like do a little like you're like a little arrow, but then you kind of come back to get some line behind the line of scrimmage so you can have room to wiggle and move and whatnot. And that's what I did. I caught the ball. And luckily, it was just green grass, so that was pretty clear and fun for me. And I just ran straight down the sideline, and it was automatic touchdown. Then the second one, I just actually got done committing. And it was fun because I was just telling the commitment show that, like, man, I'm all down, landing, etc. So it was fun seeing that me actually coming out to the field on my first play drive, because I was supposed to start that whole drive. And I just took the ball and just kind of just did it. And before the whole play, I kind of already scouted out because it was 4 D linemen, 1 linebacker, 2 on the outside. And I knew that I was going to have to kind of jump cut because that nose guard was kind of like just beating up our center or whatever. So he kind of just knifed right in. And then as you can see, I could jump cut to the left, and then it was just green grass. And then I just wiggled down the sideline and just ran like a snake, as you can say, and it was over with.
It was unbelievable because the social media reaction to yes, both of your touchdowns and your commitment, it was just I can't remember anything like it as far as the Wildcats go. I mean, everybody was just so excited. So I want to ask about that commitment. So we all saw, you're surrounded by the hats, and in the middle of the game, it's got to be a weird feeling to like stop. You already scored a touchdown. All right, I'm going to go, and you're going to do this whole interview. Just what was going through your head? You already had your decision made, but were you nervous doing that, or were you like, all right, I'm ready to just get it done?
Of course, I was nervous. Being on the big stage, especially NBC, I was like, whoa, it actually hit me once the cameras actually came on. Because y'all didn't see, but actually behind the cameras, it was more people actually recording with just being there. So it was like, wow, it was just like, wow, like, kind of hit me a little bit. But like you said, I was ready to get over it, get it done. Because like I said, at the same time, I'm here to get a job done. So exactly, I was there to just get it over with.
Let's talk about some of your future teammates, Rayshon. You and St. John Bosco went up against some of them when you faced off against Servite. I know Servite, well, we won't talk about the last meeting with Servite, but I know you had a couple long touchdowns in that game. You looking forward to competing on the same side with some of those guys next season?
Oh, yeah, of course. Competing against them, knowing how much dogs they were, playing against them, it was like now being with them, they probably happy as well. Like, man, I can't wait, knowing that all I can hear is Speedy down the sideline or Speedy up. And same with me, T-Mac, Moss Balls, Keon Burnett, Moss Balls, Noah Fafita just dying up and just being able to be a Kyler Murray in my eyes and being able to move. AJ, Kevin, all those guys being able to move, shifty, quickness, and even Jonah as well being able to pound the defense or whatnot too. So playing with all those guys, man, I know I can't wait to be able to play with those guys because we're going to be dynamic.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Arizona's getting a two top national 500 running backs in coming to Arizona in Rayshon and Jonah Coleman, like you mentioned. For those who don't know, Rayshon, and I imagine most Wildcat fans are aware by now, you go way back with Snoop Dogg, who's one of your Pop Warner coaches, right? And you even received your invite for the All-American Bowl from Snoop Dogg himself. Can you just tell us more about that relationship, and can we expect to see him in the stands at Arizona Stadium next season at some point?
Oh, yeah, of course. Me and my dad were just actually talking about that. As you will actually see Snoop Dogg down there, of course. We're like a family, like I said. That's like my uncle. We've been playing against him since I was little. He always wanted me to play with him. My dad always kind of turned it down and whatnot because my dad was like, we want to play against the best. You don't want to be on the best team because you're kind of not going to – your game was going to succeed. So me playing against him was always good. And then getting the invite from him and Coach K-Mike, it was amazing because, like I said, we go way back. So we're pretty hit me because of Snoop League, man. We go way back. And it'll be fun to see him in the stands, which you will, like you said. So, yeah.
Did you see that clip that I think it was Sunday night with him and Blake Shelton after the Sunday night game where they were talking? I mean, when you're watching yourself on TV, like national TV, and you got two stars that are talking about you, I mean, what does that feel like?
It was amazing. Like I said, I woke up in the morning and I just seen Snoop Dogg text at 7 a.m. And I was just like, he was like, I'm proud of you, nephew. Keep it going. And I was just like, thank you. Like, wow, like, all glory to God or whatnot, because it's good to have somebody like Snoop Dogg to be in your corner and being able to guide you and help you because he's been through a lot and he knows and he actually has a football organization. And so for him to be out and be able to look out for me and being on my journey, man, it's amazing.
Yeah, we're really excited. Well, we hope to run into him at Arizona Stadium in the next few years.
Exactly.
Come on, Snoop, come on, say hi. All right, I got to ask you here because I know that ASU is one of the schools that talk to you. What do you know about the ASU-Arizona rivalry and how much hate is involved between the two schools?
I heard it's a lot of hate. I have talked to some of the players. I heard it's a lot of hate, but I really don't know too much of it. But of course, that's our rival. Of course, we're going to beat the best out of them. Of course, we're going to play with a chip on our shoulder. So that's all I have to say about that.
You're going to learn real quick. No worry. As soon as you get to Tucson, you're going to get filled in. I got two more questions for you, Rayshon. We really do appreciate your time. I know you've been doing a lot of media. We always like to ask, tell us something about yourself away from football, like a hobby or an interest or something that you do that maybe a lot of people don't know about you.
Like me and my dad mentioned, I like to dance. If I wasn't doing football, I'd probably be on the backstage somewhere with Chris Brown. Nah, all jokes aside, but yeah, I'll probably be doing something like that. And I like even doing video games. I'll probably be playing money for video games or something like that. Madden 2K, I'm really into those. So,
are you on Twitch?
Yeah.
Where can people find you on Twitch?
Rayshon Luke.
Oh, easy enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Last question for you. when you put on that Arizona hat at the All-American Bowl and announced your commitment, you repeated that phrase that Jedd Fisch has adopted for this program. It's personal. What do those two words mean to you?
That meant for me is a lot of schools have denied me, not saying that I wouldn't have picked Arizona if another schools came my way, but just a lot of schools have denied me and talked about my size, and that line meant a lot for me and my dad because it is personal, and we can't wait to play against the USCs, UCLAs, the Oregons to show them that y'all got something on y'all hands. Y'all got pressure coming. So that line is very personal for me because, like I said, I have been turned away and I have been talked about my size a lot of times, and I'm gonna just prove a lot of people wrong like I've been doing.
Is it September yet? I can't wait to see Speedy on the field. I mean, this is with Jayden de Laura and T-Mac and Kean Burnett. I mean, this is so exciting. I'm stoked. All right, last question for you, Speedy. When you talk about your frame and your game, who do you pattern yourself after as a running back? What running backs do you look up to and want to be like at the college and then later NFL level?
Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Barry Sanders. I really like how Barry Sanders move. A lot of people don't know, but that's really who I try and imitate because how he move, even though the game is not like that no more, you just can't bounce off tackles or whatnot. But just the way he moved, it was just like, and even Deion Sanders, how fast he was on the kick return, punt return, how he moved, how shifty he was, and how much vision he has. So playing like those type of dudes, I know my game going to elevate as the years go on.
Well, Speedy, we really enjoyed having you on Wildcat Country. We wish you the best of luck. We're so stoked to have you come to U of A, and we know you're going to be a star at the next level and beyond. So best of luck.
Yeah, of course.
And hope to talk to you again down the road.
Thank Eric. Thanks, Shane. Thank you for having me on your show as well, taking the time out. Anytime, I love doing the media. It's fun, especially for the U of A Bears down. Again, it's personal.
Very glad to be joined for a second time on Wildcat Country by Arizona men's basketball assistant coach and recruiting coordinator TJ Benson, who's probably had more time on his hands than he would have liked over the last couple of weeks. TJ, thanks for taking time to join us again. First question for you. Is this team going a bit stir crazy having been able to play just one game in the last 3 weeks?
I would say the answer is yes, but to be honest with you, I think our guys have been great in terms of, every day just finding ways to stay motivated and energized. And I think there's, some maturity that's kind of coming along with all this, that if we want to be a really good team come March, we got to use this time to kind of get better and work on things that can help us not only now, but, potentially 2 months, 3 months down the line. So, no, I mean, like I said, they've been great, coaching staff, everyone. I mean, it's not easy to have such a crazy layoff, only I think one game since December 22nd, but
right.
All in all, like I said, the guys have been awesome.
Let's talk about the two games you've been able to get in over the last several weeks, starting with Tennessee. Arizona's only loss of the season, although your guys did a heck of a job digging themselves out of that ditch and nearly pulling it out. What was the message to and the overall mood of the team after that game?
I think everyone was disappointed. It was something where, I mean, hey, Tennessee was obviously they are a very good team, and they came out and punched us right in the mouth from the get-go. And to recover like we did, and obviously have a chance to win the game, or really I think we tied it and missed a couple opportunities late, but
yeah.
To me, to say like, oh, hey, we battled back. I mean, I don't think that we're not into moral victories at the end of the day, and it was a great learning lesson for our guys that, hey, I think that was the third game in a row that we hadn't gotten off to a great start. And I mean, it did show us, hey, we can come back in those moments, in those games, but at the same time, we can't put ourselves in a, 16-2 hole to start the game where Coach Lloyd's got to call it. He didn't want to have to call that timeout at the 15-minute mark, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So like I said, it was definitely disappointing to start that way. We battled back, but also again, you don't want to have to learn lessons through putting yourself in that position or losing a game.
Right.
You'd rather learn lessons by winning games at the end of the day.
Yeah. And it occurred to me after that game, you and Tommy Lloyd have only experienced 2 losses in the last season plus, to a national championship game with Gonzaga last season, and then the game in Knoxville. Is it kind of a bizarre feeling at this point for you guys, for you and Tommy specifically, to go back to the locker room after a loss? Because it just doesn't happen to you guys very often.
Yeah, I kind of joke about that. The 2 years I was at Gonzaga, and obviously I played a small role in that. And to me, it was Coach Few and Tommy who, hey, it was their show. But it is kind of a crazy feeling when you go through, a calendar year and you've only lost 2 games.
Yeah.
But hey, we find ways to get better from those, wins and losses. But it is kind of a standard of basketball that I know Tommy's been used to for a long time. And I've only experienced that with him for the last 2.5 years, but it's what he does every single day with our guys in terms of holding them accountable, holding them to a high standard. It's what he's about. And it's not about, hey, this is year 1. And he wants it to carry forward and kind of that it'd be the foundation of the way he does things for a long, long time. And like I said, to me, it's obviously it's great to go through that, but it's something I know we want to continue to do. And at the end of the day, it's about making sure our guys understand that and where Coach Lloyd is coming from it.
Yeah, and off to the kind of start that maybe you guys thought was possible, but certainly not a lot of fans thought they're going to have that kind of success right away. But you've only had an opportunity to play one game since Tennessee. That was the home win over Washington. It's a tough game for close for about 30 to 35 minutes. How do you and the staff feel about the way that game went, especially after the long layoff?
I mean, hey, Washington's a team where, they play that zone and they've been playing it a lot more of it lately. And it's not easy to play against. I mean, they've got a bunch of talented guys, and I think they've been kind of figuring out what their identity is. And I mean, hey, they played us tough and we found a way to obviously kind of break away, down the stretch, but you saw on their last road trip, and how they did. And I think they're a team that's more than capable of winning some games in the Pac-12, but it's not they're not an easy team to play against. And I think they forced 18 turnovers a game. And that was something we came in with, hey, we got to take better care of the basketball. We did the same thing against Tennessee. We had too many turnovers. So for us to have that as our first game back and kind of at least get our, reacclimated to playing a game. And here we are going again, and Colorado will be a tough one tomorrow along with Utah over the weekend. But all in all, I think there's, again, a lot of positives. And for us right now, it's just we want to keep playing games. And for us to get out there and to be able to play against Washington, even though it was about 10 days ago now, I know our guys are excited and hungry to obviously, have that opportunity still.
Yeah, and looking ahead of those games, they're currently scheduled at least at home versus Colorado on Thursday night, like you said, and then Utah a couple of days later. The Buffs have won 5 in a row. They have the 3rd best rebounding margin in the league. Of course, Arizona is number 1. But what challenges in particular do the Buffaloes present for you guys?
I mean, Coach Boyle's someone. He recruited my brother a long time ago, so I'm very familiar with him and the way they do things. But they're tough. I mean, like you said, they've won 5 in a row. They've got a big front line. It's a game that I don't think we're taking lightly at all. And our guys shouldn't feel that it's going to be an easy one in any way, shape, or form. So again, tomorrow, I mean, they're a team that I feel like they've found a way to kind of continue to get better as this year's gone along. And whether it's their guards or their bigs, I mean, they're experienced, they're tough, they're physical. And one thing that they do a great job of is they get to the free throw line a ton and draw a lot of fouls. So I think that'll be a big key for us tomorrow is defending them without putting them on the free throw line and making them earn it by making shots. And then obviously, like you kind of just said, the rebounding aspect. I mean, they're a very, very good offensive and defensive rebounding team. And I think, like a lot of games, the war on the boards is going to decide a lot of things, and that's definitely going to probably be the case tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to touch on you mentioned possible foul trouble because that was an issue certainly in the Tennessee game. And now with an 8-man rotation with Kim Aiken's absence as opposed to a 9-man rotation, how do you picture that impacting the team going forward, especially in terms of foul trouble or even fatigue, and especially when you have to play, 2 games in 3 days?
I think our guys, they just got to be smart. I think game to game, it's obviously going to change in terms of how it's called. But those are things that we work on with our guys. I mean, I don't want to just point it out, but I mean, Dalen Terry is someone that he's had some issues with picking up some early fouls in some games. And we've been working on a few things with him saying, hey, get through the first media without without picking up your second foul or even a foul. So then you have 35 minutes with 5 fouls, and it allows you to, pick and choose your moments when you can be more aggressive. So I think that's something we constantly every day we're working on in practice, with whether it's 1-on-1, 2-on-2, just different ways of, again, protecting your hips, guarding the ball. It's something that, like I said, we emphasize that a lot. And obviously with you talking about our rotation being smaller, I mean, hey, sometimes guys are going to get in foul trouble. It's part of the game. And that's why, we trust the guys that are on our bench to obviously be able to fill in when it happens. And, like I said, though, it's definitely been, something that's obviously we're very, very aware of.
I feel like all I've been doing is talking about negatives. You guys are the number 6 team in the country, for goodness sake. Let's talk about a couple of positives, starting with Ben Mathurin. And, Tommy Lloyd said the other day, he's never seen a player quite like Ben Mathurin, just in terms of his skill set on a guy built like him. Are there any athletes you've seen coached who you might compare to Ben Mathurin?
Personally, no. I mean, I haven't been at this level long enough probably to be around and guys that are quite that, of that athleticism and that skill level. I mean, hey, Grand Canyon, I had a lot of good players. Gonzaga the last 2 years. I mean, Corey Kispert was, kind of along those lines, but at the same time, I mean, there's some things that Ben does that you're just like, wow. So for him, he's a guy too that I think he's a tireless worker. I think he's a great teammate. That's one thing that, we want to have those kind of guys in our program, and been someone who I think has really embraced being coached by Tommy every single day. And to me, that's, you look at him and you always talk about the freshman to sophomore year jump, and he's taken a big one, this year. And I mean, it's like I said, it's been very impressive, and he's obviously, it's been a big part of our success and how he does things.
I want to talk about my favorite guy on the team, Kirk Kriisa, who seems like a guy, and I mentioned this to Reggie Geary last week. He's a guy you love if he's on your team, and probably can't stand if he's not, because he just because of the way he conducts himself. What does he do for the team, not only with his athletic ability, and he had a great game against Washington, but with the manner in which he conducts himself on the court?
I mean, he is a guy that, he kind of is the heartbeat of our team. I think him and Dalen Terry both, they bring the juice. And, Kerr, I think for him, he's obviously someone that it gets him going, it gets his teammates going. And there's guys out there that you need them on your team, and for us, I mean, like I said, to me, if there's, he's any shot he hits, I think is something that, it finds a way to spark us, and his passing, his hustle. I mean, like I said, to me, it's something that, I think he's also embraced his role as that guy. Sometimes I wish he might rein it in a little bit in terms of maybe the chatter on the floor or some things he does, but at the end of the day, that's who he is. And we love him for it. And like you kind of said, hey, he's one of those guys that you love to play with and have him on your team, and you hate to play against him, because to me, he's obviously someone that if you don't know him, he can rub you the wrong way. But at the end of the day, he's an awesome kid, and one of those guys, like I said, I wouldn't have anyone else out there running our team right now.
You guys have had a lot of adversity just in terms of fans on the road. Illinois, Tennessee were tough road matchups. I'm sure when you were at Gonzaga got everyone's best shot on the road, both in terms of the play and the fans. I'm sure you're going to see that throughout Pac-12 play as well. The early experiences that this team got against Illinois and Tennessee, and knowing they won the game at Illinois, they easily could have beaten Tennessee. How is that, do you think, going to prepare this team for facing hostile road environments going forward?
I think it's huge. I mean, I think those two games, in terms of how big those arenas are, the fan bases they have, our guys hadn't experienced that last year. I think a lot of people forget that is as much as the games they played in the Pac-12 or in non-conf, whatever. A lot of our main guys are sophomores who have not seen opposing teams or opposing fan bases. So. Right. I think it was huge. I think Kerr even said, he's like, this is the craziest game, like talking about Illinois. And I think Tennessee might've trumped that after we played them, but he's like, this is the craziest fan or arena environment I've been in before. So knowing that they can go into an opposing place and get a win. I think that did a ton for, the mental psyche of our team to believe in how we do things and, hey, we can go anywhere in the country and play with anybody. And I think going into conference play, I think, like I said, that's definitely an area or something that prepared us to be able to do that, because, hey, Pac-12 isn't going to be easy. No doubt about it. So like I said, I think it's something we can definitely lean back on, and if there are some tough times, and say, hey, we've been at some tough places, we can go in here and we can definitely win.
My last question for you, TJ, and we again appreciate you joining us once again on Wildcat Country. This new COVID variant has been spreading like wildfire, as we've seen throughout the sports world. I don't have to tell you. Is the team leaving it up to each individual player and staff member in terms of deciding how much contact to have with the outside world, or has there been a team decision in that regard? How are you all handling that?
I mean, honestly, I think we kind of keep our circle pretty tight to begin with. And obviously over Christmas break, there's not a whole lot of people around anyways. I mean, the guys go to practice, they go home, they hang out with each other a lot. I know from a coaching staff standpoint, it's not like, we're all out and about and doing those things, but to me, at the same time, we're trying to live as normal of a life as we possibly can, because I think that's a big deal in terms of keeping yourself sane at the end of the day,
Sure.
And that's, I think for us, being around a lot, be around each other every single day. You've got probably a group of 30 people or so. And we all love being around each other. So I think, as tough as these times are right now, when you're around a lot of good people and hanging out with each other, what we're going through right now is just going to be kind of a small blip on the radar, because obviously we've got big goals in mind and what we're trying to do for the Pac-12 and beyond.
Absolutely. All right, TJ Benson, we appreciate you joining us again. Hopefully we'll have you on the show again before the tournament rolls around. Best of luck this week and stay healthy, okay?
Awesome. I appreciate it, Shane.
I want to read you a message from Josette, a small business owner in Scottsdale. Josette says, Backcourt Marketing created a social media strategy for all of my gyms. They post engaging content every day and have really brought up the analytics on all of my pages. We meet to go over marketing ideas every month, and I really appreciate their personalized approach. That, in a nutshell, is the kind of return on your investment that you can expect when you trust Backcourt Marketing to fulfill your company's social media needs. This is a company that helps businesses reach their target audience online and build a brand that will crush the competition. They're a dedicated, knowledgeable team of brand advocates, designers, and creative writers who will help take your business to the next level. Make sure to get your business noticed. Call 480-744-6173. That's 480-744-6173. Or email team, TEAM, at backcourtmarketing.com to get started. And remember, Backcourt Marketing is the marketing agency for those who love competition.
Very cool to hear from Speedy Luke. Really excited to watch him on the field. Thank you to TJ Benson as well, who you had the chance to speak with. Shane, I stopped counting after the regular season when you beat me by 3 games, but I nailed this national championship game last night, yeah, because we're recording on Tuesday night. Georgia was the better team, and I know Alabama had some injuries, but at least I got that right. And I was pretty close on score.
Well, I was happy about it. I even said so that, I picked Bama because I just was in full believe it when I see it mode when, Nick Saban coaching against his former assistants. And when Alabama recovered that fumble that didn't look like a fumble, it was the most casual fumble recovery in history, and Alabama scored, you're thinking, or I was thinking, here we go again, same old Georgia, same old heartbreak. And then they march right down the field and score. And so good for them. Very excited to see a different national champion. I know it's still SEC. I know it's still, in that same, like that 400 or 500 mile radius where all the national champions have come from in the last several years. But it was nice to see. It was a fun game to watch. I mean, it was a little boring at first, but happy that you got it right. Happy that you pulled within, I think, 2-3 games of me for the season.
I stopped counting.
Sure
so you won the regular season. We're just going to leave it at that. But I'm very happy that I got that one right. All right.
Good for you.
So we saw that legitimately there were 2 really good teams in college football this year. And, some other, Cincinnati was good. Michigan was good. Ohio State was good. Baylor was good. but do we really need to expand the college football playoffs for anything other than TV ratings? I mean, or should we almost retract it like we used to see with the BCS?
I wouldn't retract. No, I'm maybe in the minority thinking that I think 4 teams is fine. I'm okay with 4. Now, I actually wouldn't mind seeing it expanded too. I think 8 teams maybe have, the 5 or 6 highest ranked conference champions and then 2 or 3 wild cards after that. I'd be fine with that format as well. But I'm thinking, top 4, when you have, how often, Eric, do you have more than 4 national championship contenders in college football, like bona fide contenders in a given season? You don't have that too often, So like this past season, the top 4 was easy. And I think if we add you add the top 8, you make it a top 8 or a top 12, you're still going to have controversies as far as who should be the last team in or whatever. But beyond that, think about the other teams that would have made it in a top 8 scenario this season. You have Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Cincinnati was already in, maybe Utah. I don't know. Would any of those teams, do you think, really vie? And Ohio State, maybe really vie? Ohio State, maybe. That's the only team I could think of out of the top 4 that maybe would vie for national championship. Yeah,
I mean, and next year they'll be really good. I mean, you can already pencil in 3 of the 4 next year, probably Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State in the Final 4.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, Oklahoma State, were they ever going to beat Alabama or Georgia? No. Notre Dame was never going to. Baylor was never going to. So, and I don't think Utah was either. Maybe Ohio State, but that's the only team that I think is really outside the top 4 that would have a chance. So I'd be fine with 8. I think that would make things more exciting, but I think 4 is infinitely better than 2.
Yeah. I was thinking about something the other day, Shane, and then we'll move on from this. Do you think about how it used to be back in the day where it was not necessarily a de facto national championship game? You would have, like, Fiesta Bowl had set matchups. The Rose Bowl always had Big Ten, Pac-12. In a way, that was almost better, because then we would have more debate. I don't know. I used to enjoy the debate. You know what I mean?
I think when Georgia last won the championship, it was 81.
Yeah,
they beat the number 7 team in the country. And so that was not a direct national championship game. So if they had lost that game, the team that beat them wouldn't have been the champions.
You know what? Would be fun.
Someone else.
You know, it'd be fun. Put all teams in their like scheduled bowls, and then pick 2 teams from there to go to the championship game. Have a committee to pick 2 teams from there to go to a championship game.
I don't know.
You don't like that?
It's a little convoluted and unnecessary.
I mean, these semifinal games every year are a train wreck. I mean, with the exception of like 2. Shane, if you look at it, there's like 2 games over the last 7 or 8 years in the semifinals that have been good. Clemson, Ohio State was one of them, and I think Oklahoma, Georgia was one of them. Outside of that, I mean, has Alabama played a competitive semifinal game yet? I don't think so.
Yeah, but you have seen. What I'm saying is, I want to say even the very first one, the very first college football playoff, we got the top 4. I want to say it was the number 4 team, Ohio State, that won the whole thing. Yeah. So expanding it to 4 was good. I can't speak to competitive games. But what I'm saying is the number 3 or the number 4 team is certainly capable of winning the whole thing. If you had the BCS format this year, and Georgia might have been number 3 and not even had a chance to get in, and they were probably the best team in college.
They were the best team all year, yeah, except for one game. Yeah. Before we go, I just wanted to mention women's basketball team fell to USC on Sunday, 76-67. Yeah. But now at the Oregon schools this weekend, so it'll be interesting to see if they can bounce back. They're number 7 in the country. Men's team number 6 taking on Colorado and Utah this weekend. So we will see how they do. I'm expecting a 4-0 weekend between those 2 teams. Would you agree with that?
Hopefully we'll just, at the very least, Eric, hopefully we'll have a 4-game weekend. And we'll get them all in. That's all. I mean, I hope for 4-0, and then that's what we should get. But hopefully we get them all in. At this point, I just want to see basketball play consistently again.
As always, want to thank our sponsor, Backcourt Marketing. Check them out, backcourtmarketing.com, and on Twitter at backcourtmktg. They always have some fun little witty comments during games and posts during games, and we'd love to be able to interact more with them during basketball games. But the problem is, Shane, there really haven't been that many basketball games of late. So we look forward to interacting more with them and seeing the funny tweets on Twitter from Backcourt Marketing. Also wanted to thank our friends at All AZ Sports for producing the podcast, as always. Thanks to Speedy Luke. Thanks to TJ Benson. Thanks to you, Shane, and for another great show. For Shane Dale, I'm Eric Cohen. As always, bear down.